it was so nostalgic. Just a week ago now, we went over our first Taylor Tuesday, and it was so nostalgic because even back then, all those arguments against the Brexiteers have been so ingrained into my mind that I could just recall them as soon as he started to blurt them out. And it's so funny that even now we see the Brexiteers still claiming the exact same thing as they used to claim, not even at the referendum, but before the referendum. Because here's the thing. One of the things, and the key thing that a lot of the Brexiteers used to say, and are continuously, even now, saying, they are trying to continuously predict that the EU is about to fall, it is about to be destroyed from the inside by something else, or something is going to happen that is going to cause the EU to fall. However, when you look at the approval ratings for the EU by per country, they are all unanimously of the opinion that being in the EU is a good thing, to a point where even very, shall we say, like-minded UKIP fellows of Nigel Farage's ilk, be the guy from the Netherlands, Le Pen from France, or Orban from Hungary, who all were at the time saying, "Hey, look, we're going to leave as well. Look at us and how fantastic, Britain is going to be. They're going to lead the way." Well, they very quickly changed their tune almost immediately after. Indeed, now many of those politicians have completely changed their stance about actually exiting the EU. Again, they all say that they're going to, quote, improve it. Not exactly say how they're going to improve it, but again, they want to, quote, improve it. Again, not too much of a surprise, but one of the key arguments that we are again going to go over today was the idea that Brexiteers had this idea that somehow when we left the EU, we could also go and do individual trade agreements with EU members, making what is known as bilateral agreements. Now, of course, for those of you who know how the EU works, instantly know that any EU member state member cannot go and unilaterally go a bilateral deal without first doing it at a EU level. Meaning that essentially, if a country wants to go deal with another country, then it has to be done at an EU level. And of course, as we said multiple times and pointed this out, this is because the EU as a whole has a far bigger leverage than maybe, say, Belgium, or if Luxembourg wants to go get a trade deal. And of course, we are now seeing the Brexiteers continuously trying to drink their Kool-Aid, because guess what they're trying to do? So before we do jump into that article today, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button, and of course down below there is a link to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, and thank you to all those people who do help support me through those links down below, or even if you just press the like, subscribe and share button. Like I say, every little helps to support the channel. So, on today's article, and today's article comes from the Yorkshire Bylines. So, here we go. So, it comes from the Yorkshire Bylines with the title of EU member states are facing a diplomatic onslaught from the UK. EU member states are said to be facing a diplomatic onslaught as the British government steps up efforts to try and secure bilateral trade deals with individual nations to try and augment the bare bones trade and cooperation agreement, which was established with Brussels in December. This is a very clear indication that beneath the bravado and soothing words, the government recognises the huge problems facing the UK industry and is seeking to try and coax other member states to agree bilateral deals in youth mobility, professional qualifications and social security. It seems, as Boris Johnson might put it, like a desperate attempt to add a small crouton or two to the thin gruel of the trade deal negotiated by Lord Frost. This is according to the normally very, very well informed Tony Connolly, the European editor at the Irish state broadcaster RTE, who quotes one EU diplomat and claiming that European capitals are facing onslaughts from approaches from Britain's envoys. Connolly reports that the TCA has been placed on the agenda for next week's EU summit in Brussels, and President Macron has asked for the EU-UK relations to be discussed following the French complaints about fishing licences and the Jersey flare-up. Other leaders have also agreed. It is the first time the European Council will have considered relations since the TCA had been ratified at the end of April. And of course, there is increasing concern that having failed to attain its objectives at the EU level, the UK government is trying to bilateralise relations with individual member states. EU leaders are determined to put out a strong message of maintaining unity and protecting the integrity of the single market. The TCA does permit bilateral agreements in a number of very limited areas where member states can build on what the basic deal provides for. Aviation is an example. However, Connolly quotes one diplomat suggesting that there is a concern at the scale of the UK attempts to try and secure bilateral deals. EU leaders will apparently ask national capitals to inform the European Commission before entering bilateral talks, and the Commission will then advise all of the member states after addressing whether or not what the member state intends to do with the UK is compatible with the TCA or its single market obligations. Leaders will also sign to a European Economic Area. That means the EEA members as well, such as Iceland and Norway, that full access to the single market requires alignment with its rules and that they do not intend to undermine them in any way. It is a sign of Britain's new status as a third country, finding itself outside the formal structures of the EU by trying to limit the damage inflicted by the hard Brexit imposed by Boris Johnson. So, we even now are at the state where even our own diplomatic envoys, our own government, knows the damage that it is done and is now trying to go to the individual states with its begging bowl. As we said last week, we're becoming the Oliver Twist of Europe, of going to all these individual countries and saying, please, sir, give us more. But of course, what's going to happen is that when the UK asks for more, they're going to get completely slapped down. Just as we saw, a couple of last month with the Norway debacle, where the UK essentially decided that it was going to massively overplay its hand by saying, hey, we want to fish in your waters, but we're not going to let you fish in our waters. And that was somehow going to be, quote, a fantastic deal for Norway. Again, doesn't make any bit of sense. But ultimately, this just shows you just how much actually we need Europe. And as I've said before, all these problems that Brexit is causing would be solved instantly and overnight by us simply rejoining the customs union and the single market. Now, ultimately, that's not going to happen, especially with this government. Reason? Because, well, they are determined in any way, shape or form to try and prove that Brexit is a success. And as I keep on predicting, at the end of this year, I ultimately guarantee the government is going to release some sort of Brexit success paper or Brexit success mission statement to try and essentially sweep Brexit under the rug once and for all. But of course, as we know, Brexit is here to stay. And it's here to stay, like it or not, whether both either Labour or Conservatives or even Brexiteer supporters want to admit that. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you for all your support that you give the channel. And of course, we'll see you all next time.